feel fantastic. Now, Jimmy works with a lot of sports players, with teams, and with athletes as well, who need to get into their not only best shape possible, but they need to be able to perform at any given time. So Jim's got some fantastic tools and techniques that he's going to share with us today. So first of all, what exactly is it that you do, Jimmy? If you could just explain to everybody just a little bit what it is that you do.
Well, I work as a performance coach, so I work in different areas. One of the areas I predominantly work in is sports. I also work with offenders. I also deliver NLP training, as you know, and other courses, such as CBT training. The main emphasis of what I do is to help people get the best out of themselves. So my emphasis is all about helping people to get the best out of themselves mentally, physically, and spiritually, so to speak.
Right. Okay, so it's more of an all-rounder, the whole mind and body.
Yes, a jack of all trades.
A jack of all trades. Fantastic. So how do you actually go about doing that? So how do you get somebody not only in the most mental peak state, but also physically as well?
Yes, it is a challenge, and it's not easy, as I'm sure you're well aware. Any challenge that we have, any aim or any level of expectation we have isn't always easy. So the first thing we do is we sit down and we decide on some goals. We decide on where we'd like to be. So we give ourselves a target to aim for. A lot of the principles I use with sports people, I also transfer across to the generic public as well, where I work with the same emphasis, where in sport there's a very fine margin between success and failure. And I guess in life in general, there's millimeters between being successful in any area and just being mediocre. So one of the key things that we do first of all is we establish some goals, and also look at what's important to the individual as well in terms of what they would like to achieve. Make the goals personal rather than goals that are passed on by other people or expectations passed on by other people.
Yeah. So what about yourself? Have you had an indulgent Christmas?
Yeah, very much so. And I'd just like to wish everyone out there a happy new year, and I hope you've all had a nice Christmas. I certainly have, and I live by the 80-20 rule, where I strongly believe that sometimes you need to treat yourself, you need to go out and enjoy yourself. So over Christmas time, I certainly did that, and I spent time with family and friends, and I overate and had a very good time. And I live by the philosophy that it's not what you do for 2 weeks a year, it's what you do for the other 50 that's important. So there's nothing wrong with letting yourself go slightly every now and again and just enjoy the finer things in life.
Yeah, most definitely. And getting back on track for 2010, so all the athletes and obviously the sports players and the teams that you work with, I mean, obviously they're all just people as well. They have Christmas off, they like to overindulge. How do we go about getting them in the best shape? I mean, what are some of the challenges that they may come across?
Well, the athletes that do have a break over Christmas, some of them don't have a break, some of them actually work through Christmas and carry on training and competing.
Yeah.
That said, some of the athletes do have a break, as you said, for a couple of weeks, and it can be a challenge in itself. I think that one of the challenges is that you've been training every day or twice a day, even for some of the athletes and sports people. Then all of a sudden you stop for a couple of weeks and you overeat. And one of the things is when you're a sports person, what happened to me, I competed at a very high level of sport. When I first gave sport up and didn't compete anymore, I found I gained a lot of weight. And I find that the athletes do gain a lot of weight because you're used to eating high volumes of food because you need the calories for the energy. So it's very easy. If you think of what you ate over Christmas for the people out there, for some athletes, that's what we eat every day in, day out, up to 5,000-6,000 calories. So when you think you give up playing sport, you're still eating the same calories, you're not doing the same exercise, you put on weight pretty rapidly, which is what I did. So when the athletes are concerned, that's the million-dollar question, Star, is what do you do in terms of to remove any excess weight?
Yeah.
And you've got to continue eating because you need energy and you're going to start training. So one of the keys I found and what would be a useful technique is to use the juicing process, because you are consuming the nutrients necessary and you're getting the calories, and also you're able to keep an appetite. So on one hand, you're able to consume highly nutritious foods with low calories. On the other hand, by training and by consuming high nutrients and food that has high carbohydrate intake, you can carry on training, and by doing that, you can lose weight as well. So juicing, I think, is a vital ingredient for some of the athletes to be able to get back on track and lose some of the excess pounds.
Yeah. And do you actually juice yourself? Is that something that you've incorporated into your own lifestyle?
I have juiced in the past, sporadically, occasionally, and I have started juicing again the last 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
I began juicing. My New Year's resolution was to juice for